Hello, how are you?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you understand me?
yes, we can.
Then let us begin with the first question.
Okay, Abraham, I would like to just have a little discussion about the subject of incarnation and then reincarnation. So if I would take myself as an example. Now, before I came into this world, you speak about that we have a discussion or a life plan which is created for the experiences we will have. Is that correct? Can you just speak on that?
This is correct. Everything you are to experience within your physical lifetime is chosen before the incarnation occurs.
So between me already as a personality or by my higher self?
By the higher self, the aspect that remains within my side of life, the aspect that understands why you are choosing the decisions you are choosing and why you are choosing the experiences that you will go through.
Okay, and so if I go to be born, will I be just a spark or already a personality with certain traits and certain dispositions, which I need to have all these experiences?
We will draw many aspects to create the physical makeup. We will take aspects from your genetics, from memories of previous incarnations, previous aspects, and that will help to form the personality. But it is the spark from my side of life that forms within your side of life to begin to create the personality.
Okay, so when I am born in this life and I have my life, I learn or I don't learn. Is there a chance that I would have set to learn a certain outcome, but I'm not getting to it? Is that possible?
This is misunderstanding. As I have spoken earlier, everything you experience, you have chosen to experience before you incarnate. Therefore, every action you go through is chosen. Nothing is missed, nothing is forgotten. That said, please understand that you may not achieve everything you set out to achieve within one lifetime. It may take many lifetimes and many different aspects in order to fully grasp and go through the experience.
So does that then mean when I am born, there are many other aspects of me, like Inge 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, are all starting an experience together, different bits of it?
The soul, whatever name you want to call it, is made of many aspects, many personalities, many different perspectives. Every life that is ever lived is part of the one source, part of the one soul. It is simply a different perspective, a different aspect of the one self.
So what is in the non-physical is our or my larger part, and that has many lives all at the same time.
Indeed, every life that will ever occur is occurring right now. It is the one source, the one soul. It is only the perspective, the aspect, which is different.
So all the Inges, the different Inge 1 to 10, do they all have the same life plan? Do we all want to learn the same? And if I don't get it, someone else will? Or is they all different?
What you are talking about here, my dear, is the soul group. A group of personalities that will come together in multiple lifetimes in multiple aspects in order to achieve the set example, the same experience. But it is different lifetimes, different personalities. Indeed, everyone here today is part of the one soul. They are simply a different aspect of that one soul.
And so if I don't get it and I pass, would then someone else pick that up and try to achieve that experience?
Indeed, you would take the part of the experience that you have gained and you would take that back to the higher self, to the soul groups, in order for that group of personality to achieve together.
Oh, okay. So when I then finished my life and I either achieved it or not necessarily, and I go back through the veil to the non-physical part of me, what happens then
When you
with
return
me?
to my side of life, the personality which has been created within your sphere will continue to grow and be nurtured within my side of life. You will always retain the individuality, even when you become aware of your other aspects. When you begin to merge and become aware of different perspectives, different aspects, you will still retain the individuality of the personality that has been created within the physical sphere.
So then me as Inge, now I realize, oh my God, there was so much more I could have learned. Do I then go back as me as Inge and have another life?
Indeed, the personality you've created now will continue to grow within my set of life. Reincarnation does exist, but it is another aspect of the self. It is another spark to form another personality. It is not the personality which returns.
Okay, if it's not a personality, is it then still the essence of me?
When you look at the grander picture, yes. But this goes beyond the material mind's understanding. As I spoke earlier, all souls, all aspects are the one soul. It is simply a different aspect, a different perspective.
So why is it that we in general do not, in our lifetime now, do not have an awareness of the other aspects, but some children are born, they clearly remember when they died and who they were not long ago? What is that?
Indeed, you may draw upon memories of other aspects in order to help shape the personality within this current lifetime, and in order to go through experiences or to lay the groundwork for experiences to be gained within this current lifetime.
And so what happened with these children? Why are they remembering it? Why are they different?
They are simply taking memories from those aspects. Most of you within the physical sphere will do this. However, most of you will not remember this, will not retain this in a conscious mind, but on a subconscious level. This is why the ability of past life regression is possible to your side of life, where it is retained within the subconscious, where you gain your aspects, where you gain the sparks that enable your experiences within this current lifetime to occur.
And is it that children remember better because they are before 7, they're much more open and connected to your world? Is that true?
Indeed, once they have come from my side of life, they have a greater awareness of my side of life. It is once they have settled within your side of life and got caught up in the material wants and desires that they begin to forget about my side of life.
So in actual fact, Abe, carrying me, the personality Karen, is an aspect of the whole. So when I die, I go back to my collective consciousness, to my higher self, the soul group, and another aspect comes, another personality, say Inga, she comes and she has a life. But there isn't Karen 1 to 10. We are separate personalities. Is that not correct?
This is correct, yes. You have different timelines where you had very similar personalities, but they are still different aspects.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, thank you.
I meant with Inge 1 to 10 is, you know, me and then other aspects. Inge 2, another aspect. I meant it like that. Maybe I didn't say
Yeah, it would be Inge, Karen, Cindy,
Yeah.
Diane. Yeah.
Indeed, my friends, in order for everything to be experienced, everything must be possible. And to enable this to happen, we have multiple timelines run concurrently alongside one another as you experience time within the physical sphere. But indeed, they are different personalities, they are different aspects, and they will have different outcomes in their personality and in the experiences that they will gain and return to my side of life.
Oh, yeah, well, just on that. So with the aspects, can our thoughts from one reality influence other aspects of ourselves? So could I get thoughts from other aspects that just pop into my head rather than influence, say, from your side?
I would say, my friend, it is not common practice, but it is entirely possible if it is necessary for the experience to be gained within your current lifetime.
Okay, cool, thanks.
My question is that when he was talking about the subconscious and the conscious, were you talking about like emotional stuff? Where we're talking about denial, things like that, where the child may have the denial, where they can't break out of that denial and to sort of realise what that's actually happening in their life.
You must understand that the subconscious is where all the programming is conditioned and stored. The conscious mind is caught up in going through the experience and gaining the experience. But all your programming, all your knowledge runs on a subconscious level. So whereas the conscious mind may not be aware of the experiences around it or understand the experiences around it, this is all programmed and digested by the subconscious. So the subconscious is much more aware of the subtle energies, the awareness of my side of life, the awareness of other aspects, different time periods. And this all works within the background while the conscious mind is trying to process the current lifetime.
Right,
You may have
okay.
information within the subconscious, but not understood correctly by the conscious mind.
Right, I get you. Yeah, thank you.
With my friends, would be your dreams. Often within your dream state, many of you will contact and make connections with my side of life. But as that information becomes filtered
That's
into
right.
the mind and into memory, it is changed into dream. And indeed, your reunion with your grandmother is also mixed with the roller coaster ride you took a week previously and becomes a dream.
Hello, I have a question. When psychiatrists and psychologists talk about multiple personality disorders, could that be people who have an awareness of who their aspects are, rather than a disorder or a disease?
Indeed, my dear, it is entirely possible. However, looking at the energy in most instances, it is a chemical imbalance that is a malfunction of the brain. But it is entirely possible for it to be this process.
Thank you.
Abraham, to clarify a little bit, the personality, my personality that goes to the non-physical, you said doesn't return here. Does a part of that personality, just to clarify, a part of my personality return as another aspect? Is that how it works, did you say?
Another aspect of the whole will return. It may take memories from your personality. It may take experiences from your personality in order to form its structure, in order to then grow into a personality.
So the personality is in limbo, so to speak, being utilized everywhere else, or the personality grows and learns at the same time somewhere else?
Indeed, the personality will continue to grow and learn and be nurtured within my side of life.
And that personality is growing from the other aspects that have been created by bits and pieces of me, is that correct?
If you have drawn upon those aspects, then they are markers in order to form the personality. Understand your personality is formed from every experience you go through within your earthly life. That is then nurtured and continues to grow and form within my side.
And to finalize what I want to ask too is, we can be, if another personality that's created that might have bits and pieces of me, it can be incarnated, not necessarily in the future, it can be incarnated in the past, is that correct?
If you want to get into your time frames, then yes. If you are to look at the linear process, your next life may be within the future, maybe in the past, or a different timeline. Understand, my friends, time is only a physical construct. Everything that has ever occurred or ever will occur is occurring right now. It is only your perception that makes you deem time as you do.
Thank you.
I just wish to talk about that. Is that the reason that we retain some of the memories from a past life when we have déjà vu, when we experience déjà vu? It may actually be something that we've lived in a previous or parallel life.
Indeed, it is entirely possible. You may be tapping into memories of similar experiences within a certain location. Often the déjà vu experience is the conscious mind becoming aware of the path it is set ahead of itself, which is already stored within the subconscious, but simply transferred to the conscious mind.
Okay, thank you.
Hi. I was told that I had some limiting self-beliefs from a past life that I've carried into this life of low self-worth and stuff like that. So is that true or not true? How does that work?
Indeed, my dear, as I look at your energy, I can see that you store this energy within the kidney and the lower back area, which will manifest as a bit of a self-sabotage, as well as a storing of emotions and toxins within the body. This is how that energy will manifest, and this is what must be dealt with.
Can you let me know how I can clear that?
Indeed, if you'll speak to my medium afterwards, I will inspire the mind of a remedy which will help with it.
Thank you.
I have a question on learning lessons. When we come back to learn a lesson that we haven't fully learned, how do we know that it's fully learned? I mean, who determines that we don't have to come back again to complete one part of the mission?
It is something that will be decided from my side of life. When the group consciousness comes together, they will look at the grander picture. They will look at the experience that is to be learned and how is that best achieved. At times, it may be that one aspect will have to go through the experience in order to enable for that experience to be experienced in a different way, in a different aspect. So indeed, sometimes it can be a linear process in regards to achieving a set goal.
Okay, I think that's good enough answer for me.
It's not that you have not achieved what you have set out to achieve. Some lessons cannot be achieved in one lifetime alone, sometimes only a particular aspect. But indeed, if the aspect was the process of dying or returning to my side of life, transitioning, whatever you may want to call it, there are many different ways one can return to my side of life. And all those ways would need to be experienced in order for that experience to truly be gained and learned.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'd like to ask the question regarding my spirit connections in terms of, you know, guides and spirit and family and spirits and, you know, like destiny and things like that. Well, what I find is I talk to them on a daily basis, and you know, I find them interacting in my life constantly. But at the same time, I was wondering whether you would class them as forming part of my personality, or whether, you know, I use my own free will as well. But I have this like support team behind me, and I just wanted to get more clarity on that. Over.
Indeed, my friend, you have complete free will. But understand this free will is made by my side of life. When you have a greater awareness of the decisions that you are making. But in your earthly life, you are carrying out that experience, you are going through the experience. Now understand, with my side of life, we understand you better than you understand yourself. So your guides and helpers, when they connect with you, will understand the best way to work with your personality in order for you to achieve what you set out to achieve, which is their job.
Okay,
when we have a past life regression and we're experiencing one of our past lives, is that actually happening at the time, seeing as all things happen together, or is it only a memory?
Indeed, what you are simply doing is you are tapping into that aspect, that energy which you have chosen to take into your current lifetime in order to form your personality. So indeed, you are getting a recurrence of the energy, a replaying of the energy, but you are not experiencing that in that moment. You are simply drawing upon the energy or the residual energy of that moment.
But you feel like you're the observer, but you still got that emotion happening. How does that happen?
When you choose to take that aspect into the physical form to form personality, you will also take with it the cell memories. So the body can experience it as if the body was there, as if the personality was there. The experience can be as real to the mind and to the physical form as if it was really there within that experience, because it retains that memory.
Thank you.
Reactions within the body.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
There seems to be a big discussion on the difference between the density of a being and a dimension of a being. What is the actual difference between densities of the physical plane and a dimension?
The physical form has many limitations because of its density, because of its physical makeup. There are physical laws that one must go through, but the consciousness that resides within that physical form has a lot more capability. So when you enter yourselves into an experience such as an out-of-body experience, although you're still retained within that dense form, the possibilities, the limitations are not so to the conscious mind as it expands beyond its awareness. It can then tap into different dimensions, different abilities, which are not capable to the human form. And then those memories and experiences can be taken back to the human form, the denser form.
If we're, say, a third density being, if we were to expand to a fourth density being, would we see more dimensions as such? Is that what you're saying?
Indeed, the more you can expand the awareness, the more you can become aware of the subtle energies around you, the truths around you. The limitation, my friend, though, is as you take this information back to the denser form, to the physical form, and to the physical mind, and as the physical mind tries to make sense of the experience, it will change the information to fit its understanding.
So in this current form, we can push that and expand that in this current form to another level as such.
Indeed, you have the capability, yeah.
Thank you.
Can you hear me well?
Yep.
Two questions. Is reincarnation something we choose to do?
Indeed, in order for the soul to progress and learn, it must return to the physical spheres and other spheres many times. Yours is a world of duality. You have experiences that you do not gain in the higher realm, the higher level. So the physical realm must be returned to again and again in order to gain those experiences. But it is completely free will. You would never be forced to return.
So, for example, if there are people that are like murderers or people that are very bad, they coming back again here to solve something they couldn't do in previous life?
These actions will carry karmic bonds. These energies must be repaid. In most cases, those individuals will choose to be guides and helpers. They will reside within my side of life, but they will work with the physical sphere. Therefore, they can repay the energy that they owe without gaining further karmic debts, further energy imbalances that must be repaid. But indeed, the concept of good and bad are man-made, and indeed it is an opportunity to learn and grow. Even those who carry out atrocious actions within your side of life understand from my side of life what can be gained and learned from this experience.
Thank you very much.
So just going on off that, why do we need to learn these lessons? I mean, do we need to learn them to like move to higher realms, or is it just something why?
The journey of the soul is to expand the infinite. In order to expand the infinite, you go through the experience. The more you experience, the more you create the possibility to be experienced. So it is an endless process. One experience leads to another experience, thereby expanding the infinite.
Okay, and then just a couple more. Can you opt out of it? So just say if you're in a life right now and you feel you don't have, I mean, it's probably not right, but you just probably feel the way that you don't want to learn the lessons or that you don't have any lessons to learn. Is there ways you can opt out besides suicide, or it's just something you got to do?
I'm afraid, my dear, nobody returns to my side of life in a way that was not chosen or planned. Nobody returns to my side of life by accident or before their time. And the reason is, my dear, is mankind is stubborn. At times when I look at mankind, I am surprised it's still within your side of life, with its actions and deeds. So indeed, if this was not planned, I dare say that mankind would no longer exist. Everything you do, everything you experience, interacts and changes your world. If you were to walk down the street, to be hit by a car, you would then change the life of everyone within the car and everyone around you. If that did not happen when it was meant to happen, you would have changed the life of so many around you. The butterfly effect, I believe it is called within your side of life.
So technically suicide is not really suicide because it was already planned.
Indeed, anyone who returns within this action has chosen to return in this way.
And then last question, just in terms of when you reincarnate, if there's a specific aspect that comes to reincarnate, when you reincarnate with other souls, or like, I've been told that, like my husband and I had several lives before and still will have. So now when we go back, do our souls know our higher aspect, or do they just know the part that they had reincarnated or shared a life with?
They may retain the remembrance or the memory of the energy or the recognition of the energy that they are part of the same soul group and that they've incarnated in many lifetimes in order to achieve the same lesson. But they may not have all the details if it is not necessary.
Great, thank you.
When I had a past life regression, I was getting stoned. I was standing there and they were throwing rocks at me and I was getting stoned. But I never felt one of the rocks touch me. At the time of death, does that mean that you don't feel pain?
First, my dear, I'm drawn to the phrase within your side of life that those who dwell on the past are doomed to repeat it. And the joke, I believe, was lost on your side.
I was hoping it was a joke.
Understand, my dear, that everything that must be experienced is experienced. Even if pain is experienced within your side of life, it must be experienced in order to learn and grow. What you have experienced in your past life memory is it is not necessary to re-go through that pain. There is nothing to be gained from that.
Oh, I see. Thank you.
Is there how many mismatches or, to create, what am I trying to say? To create my personality, if I'm formed from many aspects, how many does it take to form the one person? Or is it just depending on what it's needed?
Indeed, there is not a set number, my dear. It is really dependent upon what it is you are choosing to experience, how many lessons you are choosing to experience, how long you may be returning to your side of life for. All these factors will take a factor in the forming of the personality.
Thank you.
I did want to, but I think he answered, the master answered before. Well, there was a case of this lady who apparently, that's what the police are saying, that she killed her 3 children and herself. So what happens to these beautiful souls, because they didn't choose to die that way? So what happens to this family?
Though it is an atrocious action to your side of life, from our side of life it is an opportunity to learn and grow. Indeed, my friend, in order to experience everything, everything must be experienced. Every personality, any manifestation. Within my side of life, those personalities will receive healing, and then they will continue to grow and be nurtured within my set of life.
Oh, beautiful. That's a very good heart-soothing thing, because I was just worried what happens to those lovely souls, because it was none of their fault. Thank you.
Abe, where do star seeds come in the equation of aspects? So when ETs say that they have their star seeds in amongst Earth, is that still part of the same soul, or like where do they come into the equation here?
This, my friend, is an expansion of the conscious mind within your physical sphere. It is not a reincarnation. It is simply a different aspect within the physical sphere.
Okay, but they seem to claim that they can form a life from their physical plane into our physical plane. So that means it has nothing to do with your side.
It is more of a consciousness transference. That consciousness will return to that personality, which will then in turn return to my set of life.
Okay, so are you able to tell us how that starseed's personality is formed then?
It is a very similar process, but the process is carried out from the physical side of life rather than my side of life. And indeed, that process is still planned before the incarnation of that first personality, which is then extending its memory, extending its consciousness.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
Abraham, so with every incarnation, whether we succeed in achieving what we decided we were going to learn, do we go to higher planes each time, or do we just go back to that one plane?
Every personality that returns to my side of life starts at the same level. But first, you must shed all the material wants and desires that you have taken upon yourself, that you have become addicted to. Only then can you begin to learn the process of becoming aware of the energies around you, the higher self.
Okay, so if we don't learn our lessons, do we have to come back and learn that lesson at some stage?
If the experience is not fully gained within your current lifetime, an aspect will return, but the personality will still continue to grow and learn within my set. The personality you are now will never return to the physical sphere.
So how is it possible to keep reaching the higher levels? Is it just the learning from each incarnation?
Indeed, as your personality continues to learn and grow within my set of life, it will gain the experiences from the other aspects, and through this process it will become a lighter being, which is the easiest way for the mind to understand.
Thank you.
From your point of view, being in the spirit side of things, so from a spirit perspective, how can we on Earth educate and inform people about what happens at death? What or how can we do that more effectively, please?
Many on your side of life fear the process of death. They like to think it's not real until the moment it happens. So indeed, education on your side of life about the transition would be beneficial to helping mankind make that transition. Do not speak of it as fear. Do not speak of it as gone. Speak of it as transition, as progress. The more you can gain this insight, the more you can remove fear from the equation, the easier the process will become to your side of life.
Thank you. Is there any way that's more, from your point of view, is more effective than another? We hear from, like, for instance, I've done a lot of Leslie Flint tape, and he says that, you know, many people arrive over there totally unprepared for what they are expecting. I'm just wondering, from your perspective and the broader perspective, how best can we reach people, please?
It will be settled in individual cases. Okay. Each mind is different, and what each person expects is different.
I understand. Thank you.
I had a question regarding poor health.
Yeah.
If somebody has poor health, is it connected to their previous karmas or reincarnation or something, or is something to do with this life only?
It is entirely possible that you may take aspects from previous incarnations in order to form illnesses within this current lifetime. And indeed, that is an opportunity to learn and grow and to gain that experience. And this can be worked with through healing as well.
Okay, because one of my son, he has been having digestive issues for a long time. And apparently he had to get his operation done of hernia. But it's been 3 months and he hasn't healed yet. So do you think he should be getting a healing, or he should be waiting for a few more months to be healed on its own?
Looking at his energy, my dear, I can advise that his issue was a genetic link. through the feminine
Okay.
side of the family, through the mother's side of the family. This
Okay.
can be addressed. If you would like us to send healing to the situation, we will do so.
Okay, thank you so much.
My question is, sometimes people that have lost someone on this side of life take years to get a connection from the spirit world with them. Is that because they've reincarnated already? Or can you still communicate to a higher dimension?
My dear, because we are not governed by time, the personality would always reside within your side of life and my side of life. So connection is always possible. Often when communication does not occur, it is often because of those on your side of life still holding an emotional attachment or blockage, which stops the connection.
Lovely, thank you.
My question is, if I'm reincarnated, how can I ensure that I'm learning my lesson during this life? What will you recommend me to do?
Dear my friend, please understand that you do not make any false actions within your current lifetime. You may take pathways that will lead you down a different pathway, and that is part of the process you have chosen to go through. But nobody ever makes any accidents or mistakes within your side of life. So you must trust that what you are going through at the moment is where you need to be in life and what you need to experience in life. The more you can embrace the experience, the easier the experience will be for you. You can cry over spilt milk all you want, but the milk will still be spilt if that is what you've chosen to go through. All you will do by worrying about the situation is make the experience much worse for yourself.
Thank you very much.
I have a question for the medium. My wife and I have been together 50 years. She's a Thai national. And about 20 years ago, she had her first stroke. She's had 5 strokes. She's been in a hospital bed for 18 years. So I was wondering, if that was part of a past karma that she has to go through now. And also me being taken care of it for many years myself.
Indeed, my friends, this is an experience that we've chosen to go through, yes. Looking at the energy there, I can advise there is a karmic link there. There's also some genetic link from the father side of the family as well, which is carried forward and manifesting in this way. But this is an experience that is chosen to go through, yes.
Okay. Actually, right now, she's in the hospital with pneumonia or something, though. I'm not sure when she'll transition to the third dimension or whatever, but all the organs inside are okay. So maybe I don't really want to ask this, but I mean, maybe you can see it might be in the near future will she transition.
It's not my place to pass a transition sentence to anyone. But if you would like, we can send healing to the situation.
Yes.
And if you'll speak to the medium afterwards, I will inspire the mind of a remedy which may help.
Okay. There's one other thing. I had a reading with Elaine. I forget her name, but they said my spirit guy's name was Nicholas, and that he would try to send some healing. That would be Jonathan Hunter. So I'm not sure if you two know each other or not, but any spiritual healing would be greatly appreciated.
We'll definitely do all that we can to help.
Okay, thank you very much.
I just wrote a question saying that the master just said that he can send the healing. So how's that going to be possible?
As long as you have intention, then if we offer, we would happily send the healing. That is what you request.
So you'll be sending the healing?
Indeed, yes, that is what you request.
Okay, thank you so much. Thanks, I appreciate it.
Abraham, I had a question the other day posed about walk-ins. Is that something what is a possibility, and it's maybe not common, but is it always a personality who might have to have an experience, or is it, and both have to agree, or how does that work?
It is an experience which is not as common as people expect within your side of life, but it does occur. This is where 2 aspects will change places. A personality that may not need to go through the birthing process may transition with a personality that has gone through the birthing process at some point within that physical life and take on the personality from that aspect or from that perspective.
And then continue that life? No.
Indeed, yes. And then this personality will continue to form within the physical realm and then return to my side of life with all that has been gained with that aspect.
And I missed, are they then sort of an aspect of the same higher self?
Indeed,
or no?
they will be 2 different personalities. They will often be part of the same soul group, yes, in an aspect.
Okay.
Following on from Inga's question, when a person has say, a heart from another person, and they take on aspects of the former personality of the person who is now deceased. How's that work? Is that because they're part of the same soul group, even though they had no connection?
Do you mean if the person was take on an organ or a transplant?
Yeah, when they have a transplant, say a heart transplant or lung transplant.
In this case, my dear, you are taking on the cell memory. And from this, the body will react and will compensate for the new organ and for the transplant. So you are not taking on an aspect of the soul or the spirit. You are simply taking on the memory of the cell, which will then interact and help form the personality that is currently there.
Okay, so when they suddenly have a change, like one may have been a drinker and the other one wasn't a drinker, and suddenly the non-drinker becomes a drinker, it's just because of what's in the cells.
It's within the cell memory, so it is passed on and it becomes a chemical process, which then becomes a craving and a resonance, that craving for what is recognized by that organ that is transplanted. But that is contained within the cell memory.
Oh, okay, wow.
Aware that the mind with medium is beginning to interfere, so I should return the medium to her.
Thank you very much, Abraham.
Thank you, much
Thank
appreciated.
you, Abe.
Thank you.
Thank you.